Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and wherever they're watching this video, we got the huge Amazon NGN news because Michael Mann's long-awaited Seed sequel was finally gonna happen through Amazon NGM Studios under United Artists label. So this is gonna be a huge surprise because I heard the report for many years, and this is a long developmental hell for quite some time. And the Heat sequel was finally gonna happen because in the wake of the Top Gun Maverick movie success a few years earlier, that the long-awaited Heat sequel was going happening, but produced not for Warner Brothers, rather on Amazon NGM Studios through United Artists label. So because Scott Studer was impressed at seeing that movie. So this is the label was run by Scott Stuber, former Universal Pictures and Netflix film executive, But still, this is gonna be a huge surprise, and I dig it. This is if you don't know, Heat was the original. The original film was back in the 1995 was came out almost 30 years ago. I'm not sure. Yeah, because it stars Robert De Niro and Al Pacino, along with a support role including Val Kilmer, the late great Brad Kilmer, and Tom Sizemore, as well as Ashley Judd, Ted Levine, and Joy Voight. The father of Angelina Jolie, of course, and Danny DeVito. He's a Machete from the movie Machete. If you've seen that, Robbie Barbias did. Anyway, Sizemore was pretty much. Sorry, so Michael Mann would been a lot, and ever since like say the movies like compared like Tony Scott, Michael Mann was a born filmmaker, and he been a lot. And this is the second film that Michael Mann had to do with the related to this nostalgia phase. Like the first one was the remake of Miami Vice movie that was on board was going to be directed by the guy who did F1, Joe Kosinski. It's going to be, I think it's going to be starring Grant Power and Michael B. Jordan. Might be going to start the movie, but I'm not sure they confirmed yet. But still, this is because I have seen that this is the Heat movie was pretty much familiar with. He's become a known films, and it was a well-known film. The BBC inspired the great filmmakers and all the film cinephiles alike, including Christopher Nolan, who inspired that movie in this scene of the Dark Knight movie from 2008, and I think it was a lot of good feedback, and especially that movie become the one of the greatest comic book movies of all time. And same goes to Heat was one of the greatest movies of all time, especially Mike and Mann. But it's pretty much know that Mike Merritt's career was pretty much the more different. I mean, the last movie, Ferrari, was not so well, starring Adam Driver and Penelope Cruz, was a quite disappointing failure. I mean, that's probably released through Neon, the independent film distribution, was probably known from movies like I, Tonya and Parasite and another, and of course the recent Art Perkins movies like Long Legs and The Monkey. So it's pretty going to be happening anytime soon, but this is pretty going to be but this one is going to be more different. So instead, Warner Brothers, we got this Amazon NGM Studios through United Artists because Scott Stuber, along with Derek Brockhouder, fresh off of the success of F1 movie from Warner Brothers, if you know that Joseph Kosinski directing, that this is going to be more different kind of direction that wanted to be a new sort of the audience, that the general audience, like did with Taka Metric a few years earlier. But this is from Deadline, so here he is. And United Artists Board, he too, after Michael Mann brings the film to market with Leonardo DiCaprio circuit to star in Chris Serious role, which was by Val Kilmer, rest in peace. Jerry Bruckheimer and Scott Stewart producing. So this is the same guy, Jerry Bruckheimer. He's there's no stranger to sequels of the nostalgia film movies like Taka Maverick, the original film, as well as the sequel film, was stars Tom Cruise and as well as a lone cast including the late great Val Kilmer, rest in peace. So again, rest in peace. So I think this is going to be more different. This is like a sequel of the famous film. I like that with Bad and also as well Bad Boys too, because I think that this is released in the third movie, Bad Boys for Life, and the fourth film, Bad Boys Raid or Die, was probably much between the at least in between 2020 and 2024 respectively after the Chris Rock's Oscar slap debacle. So yeah, I think this is happening. The Jared Bruckheimer's on producing on the rise, and even they're working on with the Pirates in the Caribbean movie, was going to be starring Margot Robbie. Yeah, and he also produced it for Lucky Chap, but I'm not sure that movie is going to be happening anytime soon, even after the success of Barbie movie. So maybe we'll see if it's going to be happening. Maybe even Woksters, YouTubers have gone mad about that, like Critical Drinker, like say that. Anyway, let's continue on for Deadline. After years of deliberating, a sequel to his iconic crime drama Heat, director Michael Mann looks closer to getting the project made as a sources tell deadline. United Artists, the Amazon's MGM studio division, was led by Scott Stuber, of course, is its talk to pick up the project, has come to on to the finance and distribute the picture. Sources that also tell the deadline that Leonardo DiCaprio is in early talks to star in the role of the Chris Cyrillese, originally played by the Red Kibber in the 1995 picture. Um, Sources added that as of now, no offers that had been made to the other talent, including Oscar Butler, Alan Driver, and Bradley Cooper. Um, it was reporting over the Hollywood Reporter. Just early talks, but then the film announced that the studio, the offers should be come out quickly. The film had been set up at Warner Brothers, but there's when did the two sides come to terms in the budget? So the studio allowed Matt to take in the proposed project out to another studios, and the 7 weeks of going back and forth, MGM agreed to Mann's terms to plan is to shoot the film sometime next year. Now, sounds familiar. The first big project for United Artists for Amazon NGM's United Artists label that the highlighted movie remake with Henry Cavill to star. So, originally set up at Lionsgate, which Chad Stahelski, director of John Wick movies, were on board to direct. However, due to the budget issues and especially the Lionsgate film slate from last year gone box office failures like Borderlands and Core Remake and the Infinite of All, Francis Ford Coppola's Megapolis, the studio will have moved to the relaunch United Artists for Amazon NGM. So I'm not sure the movie is so, but I think that Lionsgate was not happy, and especially the impressive the performance, and especially seen in the Minister of Ungenital Melody Warfare was Henry from Guy Ritchie, who starred Henry Cavill starring, but unfortunately, the Lionsgate distributed US. But however, for unfortunately, it was box office disappointment. But it did well in the streaming service, including, of course, Prime Video with some international market. So yeah, I think that as well as the other Ricci and Cavill's upcoming film In the Grave, with distributed US by Lionsgate, was going to be approved the success in the box office, but I'm not sure. But unfortunately, Lionsgate are not happy for that. I mean, and even as in recent Baderia movie was pretty much a box office disappointment terms of box office. This is especially the last year's Lionsgate slate was pretty much box office failure. So even the per terms of verge on bankruptcy. I mean, as well as the long walk and the upcoming, and we're probably not the good. And remember that the box was pretty much gone a lot of problem. Box office got good reviews, and people are pretty much the same guy, and maybe it's produced the same guys did a micro movie and Weapons. But I hope the Michael Jackson biopic would be saved Lionsgate's film studio, despite a lot of aside but gone a lot of controversy. But we'll see. So yeah, and this is pretty much the same thing with this, and I think the Warner Brothers, like he had a lot of problems. Like even the DeLuca and Abbey was not happy with that. In even a bit, especially the success of the recent Warner Brothers film slate of this year, including a micro movie, Sinners, F1, Superman, as well the sister label United Cinema had Bob Corbayan, the Final Destination, Blumhouse, and Weapons. So yeah, I think this is going to be happening soon. So I'm going to talk about and this later on. So let's continue on. Michael Mann, Jerry Bruckheimer, Scott Stuber, and Nick Blissett will produce with Shane Salriano and Eric Roth, the writer of that movie. Um, well, probably not, as we confirms, will be excited producing. So, the original 1995 pick starring Pacino, Robert De Niro as Macaulay, and Brad Cooper um, as its release. While this is a solid hit, it has since become the world kind classic with a global family. Um, and this director is sure to get fans excited. Heat 2 was penned by the Man and Megan Goldin. It is not the novelization of the Man's film, rather than it tell the story of everything that happens before and after the principal characters of the book jumps like between the two times periods. The first formerly Chris Serides, he tried to evade at the LATB, and the detective Vincent Hanna, formerly the Buck robbery, gone bad and moves forward into the new territory in the tri-border zone in Southeast Asia. The second storyline takes reader back to Chicago in 1988 with McClody, shooters, and their Hotline crew are taking scores on the West Coast, the U.S.-Mexico border, and the Chicago. At the same time, Hana is cutting his teeth to a rising star in the Chicago Police Department, chasing an ultra violent gang of the homes invaded. And yeah, this is a great, solid synopsis, and this is a, and I think this is where better going to be a second film. I mean, Robert De Niro was not in appear in the movie. I thought maybe a cameo appearance, or or Al Pacino might be going to be a reprisal role as Macaulay, or even a younger actor like Adam Driver. I'm not sure. The fallout of the Macaulay scores and Hannah pursuit caused unexpected repercussions in the parallel narrative. And yeah, I think what's happening is this going to be a prequel sequel a la Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again? I'm not sure. Anyway, this is going to be a huge surprise, and this is going to be a big surprise. And Heat sequel was going to be happening for United Artists under Amazon and MGM Studios. So the big question is Warner Bros. Still involved of the Heat sequel? Maybe, but I'm not sure that's the reason because at one point that Apple Studios was involved to produce the Heat sequel, but as for the success of the F1 movie, was Jerry Bruckheimer was also producing, what stars Brad Pitt as a was the director by Joseph Kosinski. However, the reasons that because of the reasons that financial troubles and even then Warner Brothers got a lot of problems in the parent company Warner Bros. This company, and especially split up the cable networks and a la did with the Comcast, NBC, Universal split up that stuff. Um, Warner Bros. is not happy for that. Even though the recent film slate, like you mentioned, was gone to sex, but unfortunately, that stock and debt was gone. Like even the Michael DeLuca and Penn Abbey are not happy for that. So eventually, but a policy might be still involved. Even might be released, distribute, or co-produce the film like they did with the Conan 2, or rather distribute internationally. Or rather maybe Warner Bros. Might distribute internationally with Amazon and GM Studios. Like, unfortunately, like as I mentioned, Conan 2 was marked the last film that Warner Bros. And Amazon and GM had a international theatrical international deal was been started in late 2022 after DeLuca and Abbey were moved to Warner Brothers ended working at drop ended at Warner as a chairman and CEO, extended over to Warner Brothers. It had an international deal, but it didn't last long. But he had expired, and then and again the last film, The Alcala 2. But now it had a new deal, international theatrical international deal with Sony Pictures, and that was Bergen. The first film was a Luca Guadagnino's At the Hunt was not very good, and because the reviews got negative, and then not a strong start of the Amazon NGM and Sony Pictures um, international theatrical deal. So yeah, but I feel hope the next couple of movies like Mercy, Cry 101, and the Project Hail Mary would prove to save the distribute international distribution agreement with Amazon and GM and Sony Pictures, of course. So yeah, I think I wish it would happen, but if Warner Brothers might, but if Warner Brothers would co-distribute with United Artists through Amazon MGM, some international market, I think so, but I think the like did what yeah, I think the similar vein like did co-produce with the original film in 1995, original Heat movie was for co-produced with New Regency. Unfortunately, produced the original 1995 film, but unfortunately, even the that's not involved is they had it on the partnered with 20th Century Fox, now later 20th Century Studios, then under Disney. That the box office, there's a recent films that's not so much. Even the some good ones like the like more films were repaired, like the gone a lot of problems. Like the Nope, like for example, there's a 20th Century Studios film like The Barbarian and Creator, and it was pretty much probably the Barbarian was become the Sacred's directorial debut, and the Creator with Gavin Edwards was not so much. It was a disappointment, and Disney was not happy, and even the non-Disney produced new Regency films like The Notebook from Focus Features, and it originally did the box office failure, but eventually gone a lot of probably did well on the streaming service and VOD. So yeah, and was released as to the No Star Follow, so it did got more success. It become a recover after the last film, The Notebook, and as well the Bike Riders was originally set up at 20th Century Studios for Disney. However, reason that the Hollywood strikes happened and all that stuff. And eventually the film was eventually when 20th Century Studios decided to drop Disney decided to scrap drop the film entirely. But eventually the studio again picked up by the film was picked up by Focus Features through with Universal Pictures, house division of Universal Pictures. So that's not really good out. And the recent Apple TV Plus film Blitz with Steve McQueen's directorial film effort that's pretty much was received well, but even got releasing. So, and even the upcoming release, notable including Psycho Killer. It's a film. It was written by Andrew Kemper Walker, the writer of the David Fincher's breakaway film Seven. You probably know that the famous line, "What's in the box?" Like yeah, that's what David Fincher was known for. So, and especially the writer, and he even did the recent work in the Killer, David Fincher's The Killer, starring Michael Fassbender. It was over on Netflix. So I know this movie is pretty, and I mean, Psychic Killer was going to be releasing in limited release, but I think it might release on Disney Plus. But but I think it was released in some international territories in the. But I think it was from some I heard on IMDb, but I think 20th Century Studios or even on Disney Plus were recently releasing streaming. So I'm not sure, but and still, anyway, but yeah, I think New Regency Enterprises might stay involved in the sequel, but it might be the uncredited stu- um, studio credits of of that, or even Warner Brothers. But only time will tell. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Anyway, so like I said, I'm excited for the Heat 2, and this is going to be a Leonardo DiCaprio's. I've often mentioned that. At the Warner Bros. Side that after, like I said, the another battle, the Leonardo was already started in the bat, another battle after another was a Thomas Edison film that DiCaprio starring was probably on the box office failure, even to lose a ton of money, but it got an Oscar contender. But I think it received critical acclaim, but I respect that. So yeah, that's not really good at all. But and I think the DiCaprio's were because due to recent events that I probably not allowed to say on YouTube. So this is gonna be a huge. So yeah, I hope. Yeah, and again, the Warner Brothers might involved, but who knows? But still, I'm excited for that of the Heat sequel, and I hope this is gonna be this is a tribute movie like did with Top Gun Maverick. With Val Kilmer was probably gone passed away before rest in peace. It was before God passed away. So, and I hope this is going to be a tribute to Val Kilmer and especially Tom Sizemore, who's came out, I think they last year and this year. So, this is going to be sort of the tributes. But I hope the legacy of the Heat, the first movie, was going more like a lot of inspiration of them, all the cinephiles, including the famous filmmaker Christopher Nolan, like I said. So, I came in was excited. No word to the casting choices. Like for example, I think that my casting choices can to do go be male role like a co-star. Like for example, Jeremy Allen White or Tiffany Chalamet or even Petro Pascal or even Colin Farrell, but or a female lead like Mikey Madison or Margot Robbie, who the latter was previously working in another movie called Wolf of Wall Street by Martin Scorsese, or hey, even Monica Barbaglino, who starred in the Top Gun Maverick and the Complete Unknown in this. So it's pretty much the happening, but I'm not sure the casting choices happen. So and we will see what happens if it's going to be happening soon. So this movie is pretty much going to be the long rated sequel like did with Top Gun Maverick. So this is going to be a biggest movie from Amazon and GM Studios ever. It maybe your Warner Brothers or we can see Enterprises more might involved in some capacity, or maybe the uncredited production. So yeah, we will see what happens very soon. So that pretty much the video for today. Go watch Heat on Max in US. I'm sorry, HBO Max on US and some streaming platform in the overseas like Disney Plus. So and Netflix. So if you love the Heat, what will be happening? I mean, I'm gonna mention that Robert De Niro and Al Pacino might reprise their roles. Who knows? Maybe there's going to be a as McCarty and along others. I think so, but and still, I think so, but we'll see. Only time will tell. So this is so we will see. Anyway, that was pretty much the video today of the Amazon NGM news. And let me know what you think in the comments. Whether you're excited for the Heat sequel, and it's more might be from under new United Artists label, uh, for Amazon NGM, or maybe Warner Brothers or New Racing might involve that. Maybe the Warner Brothers might be go distribute international like with the current two. Maybe who knows? So let me know. Give it like this video and share your friends. Don't forget to subscribe and ring your notification bell. And I'll see you guys in the next video. And remember, keep watching on What Do You Mean.